Kidnappers abduct 3 children of sub-treasurer in ZAMFARA state. Flood destroyed over 100 houses in Kebbi state. President Buhari says new development plan will lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty by 2030. On business, Nigeria's total debt stock has risen in the last 3 months. And on the international scene, President Trump admitted playing down coronavirus danger. Hello and welcome to Svtv News. I am Musa Joy Unyoza. Kidnappers have abducted 3 children of ZAMFARA State Sub-Treasurer Alhaji Yusuf Marafa. His neighbor in Nahuche community of Bungudu local government area of the state was equally killed in the process. According to insiders, the kidnapped children are Monsieur Yusuf, Saidu Yusuf and Anas Yusuf, while his neighbor Malam Kamalu Nahuche was shot dead by the notorious armed bandits. One indigene of the area who identified himself as Alhaji Dahiru told Daily Post that the kidnappers, who were on many motorcycles, drove into the community and went straight into the sub-treasurer's house where they whisked away the 3 children. His neighbor Kamalu was reportedly shot dead as he came out of his house. Malam Dahiru narrated that the bandit had also entered into the house of one Ibrahim Ishago, who is a businessman, in an attempt to kidnap his children. They discovered some large sum of money in the house, which they took away with them along with the children. When contacted, the State Police Command's Public Relations Officer SP Mohammed Shehu confirmed the incident, saying that armed policemen had already been deployed to the affected area to restore normalcy and peace. He assured the community that security agencies will do everything within their power to maintain peace and harmony, not only in the area but in the state in general. Gunmen raided Tungamachi, a suburb of Abuja, early Thursday, abducting an unspecified number of resident Premium Times has learned. One resident said at least 20 people were kidnapped after prolonged shooting in the community that lies near Zuba. This figure could not be immediately confirmed. The police spokesperson for the Federal Capital Territory, Anjuru Manza, told Premium Times he was working on a statement on the incident. He said he did not confirm the number of those kidnapped or whether there were casualties. A resident of the area who would not be named for security reasons said heavy shooting started in the community at about 12:15 a.m. and lasted more than an hour. He said members of the local vigilante group were overwhelmed. He said they did not sleep throughout the night. It's this morning that the vigilantes told them about 20 people were abducted. The attack is coming days after reporters suggested that members of the extremist group Boko Haram had infiltrated the Federal Capital Territory. For the first time after a decade of the history of Lake Zaria Kalakala in northern Nigeria and Kebbi State, a majestic hippopotamus was accosted feeding itself around the lake. The event, which attracted dozens of the villagers to appreciate the wild animal, also opportuned local social media handlers to record the animal and shared photos and videos on the social media platforms. Local authorities have been advised not to allow the killing of the wild animal with a view to protecting the flora and fauna of the environment so as to promote tourism in the state. In the early hours of Tuesday, the people of Jega local government area in Kebbi State mourned the loss of their homes and property, including food. While speaking to the newsman, Engineer Abubakar Namari Jega said they are calling on the government and the well-to-do to help the community, especially the poor, to make it easier for them to return to their homes and families.
Wannan da kuke gani ita ce gadar Omo da ke garin Jega, gashi nan ta shaye da ruwa ga baki daya. Babu hanyar wucewa, dole duk masu abin hawa mota da mashin sai sun dan karkata sannan su wuce.
The problem has become a major concern which caused motorists to get into a catastrophic situation due to the congestion of cars and motorcycles. When contacted, a transport operator, Uba Audu, said he was saddened, adding that they have not experienced such floods in Jega for more than 50 years. Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje of Kano State commiserates with the families of Kano flood victims of this year rainy season, praying for Allah's blessing and forgiveness on the reposed souls of those who died. He passed the condolence message to their families and the entire people of Kano State during State Executive Council meeting held at the Governor's Lodge at Sokoro, Abuja. The governor said they were saddened by the death caused by the flood during this year's rainy season. May Allah forgive their wrongdoings and reward their good deeds with Jannah and their families the fortitude to bear the loss. Recounting that after those who lost their lives, many more lost their properties and farmlands were washed away, explaining that they are going to assess those who lost their properties. President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday in Abuja inaugurated the National Steering Committee to oversee the development of the Nigeria Agenda 2050 and Medium-Term National Development Plan to succeed Vision 2020 and the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan 2017 to 2020. The National Steering Committee for the Development of the Successor Plans to Vision 2020 and the ERGP will be jointly chaired by Mr. Otedo Peterside and Dr. Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning.
The Economic Recovery and Growth Plan shared this vision, which ensured that the country exited recession in 2017 and sustained growth in gross domestic product until the recent global economic challenges occasioned by COVID-19. Over the decades, successive planning and visioning exercises have guided investment in human capital development, the implementation of our infrastructural roadmap, and supported social investment in our people's lives and livelihoods. Your Excellencies, in order to ensure continuity and efficiency in our development planning, it has become necessary to develop successor plans to the Nigerian Vision 2020 and the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, which both lapsed in December this year. The main objectives of these successor plans are to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty within the next 10 years, particularly given the World Bank's projection that Nigeria will become the world's third most populous country by 2050 with over 400 million people.
Speaking at the inauguration, President Buhari said the main objectives of these successor plans are to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty within the next 10 years, particularly given the World Bank's projection that Nigeria will become the world's third most populous country by 2050, with over 400 million people. Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum was at headquarters of the Niger Delta Power Holding Company to make passionate requests for extension of 132 kilovolt electricity line from Maiduguri to Dikwa and Marti. The governor was received by the company's top management, led by the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer Mr. Chidu on Wednesday afternoon in Abuja. He was accompanied by former Borno Deputy Governor Adamu Shetty Madiba and some government officials. Governor Zulum, during his remarks, told NDPHC's management that connecting 132 kilovolt line to Marte in northern Borno will power machines for irrigation activities operated by the Chad Basin Development Authority. He noted that when put to maximum use, Chad Basin's irrigation activities have potentials of meeting 30% of Nigeria's food requirement. Zulum, who was in Mauti twice this year over a situation of CBDA's irrigation equipment, said the resumption of activities will create thousands of direct and indirect jobs for communities and families affected by Boko Haram's killings and displacement. The Nigerian Union of Journalists, Bauchi State Chapter, has condemned the attack of some of its members by security agents in the state and threatened to boycott all their activities. According to the chairman of the union, the attack by policemen was carried out during the flag-off of Township Road constructions by the River State Governor Nelson Wike last Saturday in Bauchi State. Comrade Umar Saidu made the union's position known when he led some members to the meeting with the Bauchi State Police Commissioner in his office at the police headquarters. He said that the leadership of the NUJ and the entire journalists working in the state were not happy and regretted the action of the police during the flag-off ceremony. Comrade Saidu said they were made to understand that some of the policemen harassed journalists at the venue of the flag-off despite showing them their valid identification cards. Barring unforeseen circumstances, Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State is set to reshuffle his cabinet that may witness some of his appointees being dropped in the coming weeks. Reports reveal that Governor Sule's decision is due to observe lapses in the discharge of government activities by some functionaries who have been either indicted or found wanting by the State House of Assembly. Sources say that Governor Sule is worried by the development and will therefore hold a special meeting with government officials and political appointees to find a way out and issue warnings. One of the observed lapses has to do with the Senior Special Assistant on Development Control to the Governor, Stanley Bupa, who is alleged to have given approvals without recourse to the law establishing the Nasarawa Urban Development Board. The House set up a 6-man investigative committee to investigate alleged fraud and insubordination by Buba and called for his suspension to pave way for proper investigation on the activities of the state NUDB. Desirous to ensure efficiency in coordination, management, and integration of all reforms programs in Gombe State, Governor Mohammed Inuwa Yahaya inaugurated the State Reforms Council and the Steering Committee to bolster activities of the civil service and place the state on the path of progressive development. The State Reforms Council is to be headed by the Governor, while the Secretary to the State Government, Professor Ibrahim Abubakar Njodi, is to lead the Steering Committee. Performing the inauguration ceremony at the new banquet hall of the Government House, Governor Inuwa Yahaya said the formation of both committees was born out of his administration concern on the welfare of the state workforce and the decay in the system. He described the civil service as the engine room of government but regretted the neglect the service has suffered over time, leading to low capacity, lack of motivation, discipline, and redundancy. He added that his administration is determined to change the narrative. Amapo Customary Court in Ibadan, West State, dissolved a marriage involving a trader, Sadia Abbas, and her husband, Abdulaziz, over a missing underwear. Sadia had petitioned the court to dissolve her marriage over allegations that he had stolen her underwear for ritual. She told Chief Ademola Odunade, the president of the court, that she feared that her life might be in perpetual danger if she continued to live under the same roof with a man planning to use her for something diabolic. Sadia added that her husband's attitude had made the marriage so miserable and unattractive to her. She said when the ill treatment reached its peak, she discovered that her underwear suddenly got missing. She checked everywhere but did not see it. The husband, however, denied ever seeing it. The police in Anambra State, southeast Nigeria, have apprehended a 38-year-old cleric identified as Chukwudi Ndibusi of Epunebu village in Newe Council area of the state for allegedly raping a 12-year-old daughter of his neighbor. Spokesman for Anambra Police Kaban Haruna Mohammed, who disclosed this to newsmen in Okada State, the state capital, on Tuesday, said the suspect was arrested by police operatives attached to Newe Division. According to him, after the arrest, police detectives took the victim to the hospital for a medical examination where penetration and laceration of her hymen was confirmed by the medical doctor. The suspect has voluntarily confessed to the crime, and the case was transferred to the State Criminal Investigation Department for investigations as directed by the State Commissioner of Police John Abang. He added that the suspect would be charged to court for prosecution as soon as investigation is concluded. The death has occurred of Hajia Jumai Ahmadu Pindar, the mother of Abubakar Ahmed of the news agency of Nigeria, who is also the State Secretary of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, ZAMFARA State Council. Late Hajia Jumai Ahmadu died in Biu, Borno State on Thursday, 9th September 2020 at the age of 406. She is survived by 7 children and many grandchildren. Condoling the family on behalf of the management and staff of Standard Voice Television, the chairman and chief executive officer of the organization, Alhaji Ibrahim Dosara, described the death as a great loss not only to the family but entire Muslim Ummah.
Mala Bakar kamar yadda ka gani a tawagar gidan talabijin ta Standard Voice ce abokan aikinka suka zo domin su jajanta maka wannan rashi da mutu, kuma a madadin su ina roƙon Allah Ubangiji wa ta'ala ya baka haƙuri kai da yan uwanka da mu duka baki daya na rashin wannan mahaifiya tamu, kuma Allah Ubangiji wa ta'ala ya sa mutuwa ta zame hutu a wurinta. Allah Ubangiji wa ta'ala ya sa mutuwa ta zame hutu a wajenta. Allah kai mata sakamako da gidan aljanna.
Responding on behalf of the family, Malam Abubakar Ahmed thanked the management of the Svtv for sympathizing with the family and prayed Allah to reward them abundantly.
Kuma a madadina kamar yadda na ce da iyalina da sauran yan uwa muna godiya kwarai da gaske. Allah ya saka da alheri. Ita mahaifiyarmu mun sani ta dade tana jinya kuma akwai girma a ciki, domin a hasashen da muka yi yanzu shekarunta ya haura 100. Ka gani an ci albarkan rayuwa, sai dai rabuwar ce babu daɗi.
We'll be right back after this short commercial break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Let me quickly take you to our business desk for the business update.
Welcome to Standard Voice Business Update. DMO yesterday in Abuja says the new total debt figures of Nigeria comprise the debt stock of the federal government, the 36 states and the federal government territory. The 2.381 trillion naira or $6.593 billion increase recorded in the debt stock, the DM said, was accounted for by the $3.36 billion budget support loan from the International Monetary Fund (IMF). Other contributors to the nation's growing debt profile include new domestic borrowings to finance the revised 2020 Appropriation Act, the issuance of the 162.557 naira billion Sukuk notes issued to settle claims of exporters. The DMO has also warned that it expects the public debt stock to grow. The nation's debt will grow because of the balance of the new domestic borrowing and expected disbursements are made by the World Bank, African Development Bank, and the Islam Development Bank, which were arranged to finance the 2020 budget. The DMO said more notes could be issued later, and new borrowings by state governments are also expected to increase in the public debt stock. It will be recalled that the 2020 Appropriation Act had to be reversed in the face of the adverse and severe impacts of COVID-19 on government revenues and increased expenditure needs on health and economics, among others. And that's on Standard Voice Business Updates. I'm Ogwarita.
And on the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump speaks to the media as he makes his way to board Air Force One before departing from Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland on September 4, 2020. President Donald Trump admits he tried to minimize the seriousness of the threat from COVID-19 at the outset of the pandemic in audio recordings released Wednesday from interviews with veteran U.S. journalist Bob Woodward. Trump said in an interview with Woodward on March 19th that he wanted to always play it down, according to a CNN preview of the book Rage, due to be published September 15th.
I don't want to create panic, as you say, and certainly I'm not going to drive this country or the world into a frenzy. I was very open, whether it's to Woodward or anybody else. It's just another political hit job.
Coming 8 weeks before the November 3rd presidential election, the revelation added new pressure on President Trump. Opinion polls shows around 2/3 of Americans disapprove of his handling of the virus, and he has often been accused of minimizing the crisis in order to try and boost his re-election chances. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. Kidnappers abduct 3 children of sub-treasurer in ZAMFARA state. Flood destroyed over 100 houses in KB state. President Buhari says new development plan will lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty by 2030. On business, Nigeria's total debt stock has risen in the last 3 months. And on the international scene, President Trump admitted playing down coronavirus danger. That's the news. On behalf of the production crew and head of news and current affairs department, Lahaji Ibrahim Garbatino, I still remain Musa Joy Unyoza. Stay tuned.